First contact and looming threat. The skies over New York City blazed with an otherworldly light as the massive alien vessel descended through the atmosphere. Its sleek obsidian surface reflected the panicked faces of millions watching from below. Emergency sirens wailed across the city, their urgent cries a stark contrast to the eerie silence emanating from the ship. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead cynobiologist at NASA, stood transfixed on the roof of the United Nations building. Her heart raced as she watched history unfold before her eyes. Years of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life had culminated in this moment, though not in any way she had ever imagined. Dr. Chen, a voice crackled through her earpiece. The Security Council is assembling. Your presence is required immediately. Samantha tore her gaze from the sky and hurried inside. The corridors of the UN buzzed with frantic activity as diplomats and officials rushed to their stations. She burst into the council chamber, greeted by a sea of worried faces. Dr. Chen, what can you tell us? The Secretary General's voice quivered slightly as he addressed her. Samantha took a deep breath. The ship's design is unlike anything in our theoretical models. Its method of propulsion and the materials used in its construction are far beyond our current understanding. We're dealing with a civilization significantly more advanced than our own. A murmur rippled through the room. The Russian ambassador leaned forward, his brow furrowed. And their intentions? Are they hostile? Unknown, Samantha replied. But the fact that they've chosen to reveal themselves rather than attack outright suggests they may be here to communicate. As if on cue, every screen in the room flickered to life. A face appeared, vaguely humanoid, but with iridescent scales instead of skin and large, multifaceted eyes. When it spoke, its words were translated into every human language simultaneously. People of Earth, I am Ambassador Zixera of the Galactic Conclave. We come not as conquerors, but as harbingers of a grave truth. Your world stands on the brink of annihilation. The chamber erupted in chaos. Samantha's mind raced, trying to process the implications of the ambassador's words. As the initial shock subsided, questions flew from all directions. What threat? Why us? How can we trust you? Ambassador Zixera raised a hand, silencing the room. The threat we speak of is not of our making, but one that endangers all sentient life in this sector of the galaxy. We have come to warn you and to seek your aid. Disbelief and confusion painted the faces of everyone present. The idea that an advanced alien civilization would come to Earth for help seemed preposterous. Yet, as Zixera explained further, a chilling reality set in. A malevolent force known as the Void Collective was sweeping through the galaxy, consuming entire star systems and assimilating civilizations into its hive mind. The Galactic Conclave, a coalition of spacefaring races, had been fighting a losing battle against this threat for centuries. But why come to us? Samantha found herself asking. Surely your technology, your weapons, are far superior to ours. Zixera's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with something akin to hope. It is precisely because you are different that we have come. Your species possesses a unique trait, one we have observed from afar with great interest. The ambassador went on to explain that humans, unlike any other known sentient species, had an uncanny ability to thrive in the face of adversity. Where other races sought harmony and stagnated, humans constantly pushed boundaries, innovated, and adapted at an astounding rate. Your history is filled with examples of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds, Zixera continued. It is this resilience, this relentless drive to survive and evolve, that we believe may be the key to defeating the Void Collective. As the implications of Zixera's words sank in, a tense silence fell over the room. The fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds across the galaxy now rested on humanity's shoulders. The pressure was immense, almost suffocating. Samantha's scientific mind whirred with possibilities. Ambassador, she said, breaking the silence, can you share more about the nature of this Void Collective? Understanding our enemy will be crucial to formulating any sort of defense or counterattack. Zixera nodded, a gesture they had clearly adopted for human benefit. The Void Collective is a hive-mind entity that originated in the dark spaces between galaxies. It consumes energy and matter, growing ever larger and more powerful. Its consciousness is vast and alien, driven by an insatiable hunger for expansion. Dr. Chen, what can you tell us? The Secretary General's voice quivered slightly as he addressed her. Samantha took a deep breath. The ship's design is unlike anything in our theoretical models. Its method of propulsion and the materials used in its construction are far beyond our current understanding. We're dealing with a civilization significantly more advanced than our own. A murmur rippled through the room. The Russian ambassador leaned forward, his brow furrowed. And their intentions? Are they hostile? Unknown, Samantha replied. But the fact that they've chosen to reveal themselves rather than attack outright suggests they may be here to communicate. As if on cue, every screen in the room flickered to life. A face appeared, vaguely humanoid, but with iridescent scales instead of skin and large, multifaceted eyes. When it spoke, its words were translated into every human language simultaneously. People of Earth, I am Ambassador Zixera of the Galactic Conclave. We come not as conquerors, but as harbingers of a grave truth. Your world stands on the brink of annihilation. The chamber erupted in chaos. Samantha's mind raced, trying to process the implications of the ambassador's words. As the initial shock subsided, questions flew from all directions. What threat? Why us? How can we trust you? Ambassador Zixera raised a hand, silencing the room. The threat we speak of is not of our making, but one that endangers all sentient life in this sector of the galaxy. We have come to warn you, and to seek your aid. Disbelief and confusion painted the faces of everyone present. The idea that an advanced alien civilization would come to Earth for help seemed preposterous. Yet, as Zixera explained further, a chilling reality set in. A malevolent force known as the Void Collective was sweeping through the galaxy, consuming entire star systems and assimilating civilizations into its hive mind. The Galactic Conclave, a coalition of spacefaring races, had been fighting a losing battle against this threat for centuries. But why come to us? Samantha found herself asking. Surely your technology, your weapons, are far superior to ours. Zixera's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with something akin to hope. It is precisely because you are different that we have come. Your species possesses a unique trait, one we have observed from afar with great interest. The ambassador went on to explain that humans, unlike any other known sentient species, had an uncanny ability to thrive in the face of adversity. Where other races sought harmony and stagnated, humans constantly pushed boundaries, innovated, and adapted at an astounding rate. Your history is filled with examples of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds, Zixera continued. It is this resilience, this relentless drive to survive and evolve, that we believe may be the key to defeating the Void Collective. As the implications of Zixera's words sank in, a tense silence fell over the room. The fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds across the galaxy now rested on humanity's shoulders. The pressure was immense, almost suffocating. Samantha's scientific mind whirred with possibilities. Ambassador, she said, breaking the silence, can you share more about the nature of this Void Collective? Understanding our enemy will be crucial to formulating any sort of defense or counterattack. Zixera nodded, a gesture they had clearly adopted for human benefit. The Void Collective is a hive-mind entity that originated in the dark spaces between galaxies. It consumes energy and matter, growing ever larger and more powerful. Its consciousness is vast and alien, driven by an insatiable hunger for expansion. As Zixera spoke, holographic images materialized in the center of the room, showing the devastation wrought by the Void Collective. Entire solar systems were depicted being engulfed by a creeping darkness that seemed to devour light itself. Our most advanced weapons barely slow its advance, Zixera continued. Conventional tactics have proven futile. We need a new perspective, a human perspective. The Secretary General stood, his face etched with the weight of the moment. Ambassador Zixera, on behalf of humanity, I thank you for this warning. We will need time to verify your claims and discuss our response. In the meantime, we request that you share all available information about this threat with our scientists and military strategists. Zixera bowed slightly. Of course, time is precious, but we understand your need for caution. We will provide all the data we have gathered. I only hope that your species' renowned adaptability will allow you to process and act on this information swiftly. As the meeting adjourned, Samantha found herself swept up in a whirlwind of activity. She was quickly appointed as the lead scientific liaison between Earth and the Galactic Conclave. The next few days were a blur of data transfers, strategy sessions, and urgent global broadcasts. The world's reactions to the news were as varied as humanity itself. Some panicked, others were skeptical, and many were inspired by the challenge. Governments worldwide declared a state of global emergency, setting aside old rivalries in the face of this existential threat. A week after first contact, Samantha stood before a hastily assembled team of Earth's brightest minds, scientists, strategists, and innovators from every corner of the globe. The room hummed with nervous energy as she prepared to brief them on their monumental task. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. We face a threat unlike any in human history. But we also face an opportunity to prove that humanity's place in the cosmos is not just as survivors, but as saviors. She gestured to the holographic displays showing the alien data. The Galactic Conclave has provided us with centuries of research and failed strategies. Our job is to find what they've missed, to think in ways they can't. A hand rose from the audience. Dr. Chen, with all due respect, how can we hope to succeed where vastly more advanced civilizations have failed? Samantha smiled, a glint of determination in her eyes. Because we're human. Throughout our history, we've faced extinction-level events, ice ages, plagues, world wars, and we've always found a way to survive and thrive. We don't accept no-win scenarios. We rewrite the rules. She paused, looking each person in the eye. The Void Collective is unlike anything we've faced before, yes, but so were smallpox, gravity, and the atom when we first encountered them. We studied them, we understood them, and we conquered them. This is no different. As she spoke, Samantha could see the spark of challenge igniting in the eyes of those around her. This was humanity at its best, faced with an impossible problem and refusing to back down. We have been chosen for this task because we think differently, she continued. Where the Conclave sees an unstoppable force, we'll look for weaknesses. Where they see only destruction, we'll seek understanding. Our creativity, our adaptability, our sheer stubborn refusal to give up. These are our weapons. The room buzzed with growing excitement and determination. Ideas were already being exchanged, theories proposed and debated. Samantha felt a surge of pride and hope. The Void Collective has never encountered humanity before, she said, her voice rising with passion. It has no idea what it's up against. We are the wild card, the unexpected variable in this cosmic equation, and we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. As cheers erupted around her, Samantha knew that this was just the beginning. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges and sacrifices, but looking at the determined faces before her, she also knew that if any species could find a way to defeat the seemingly unstoppable Void Collective, it was humanity. The battle for the galaxy had begun, and humanity was ready to show the cosmos what they were made of. Alliance and preparation. The gleaming spires of the Human-Alien Joint Command Center rose from the Nevada desert, a testament to the unprecedented cooperation between Earth and the Galactic Conclave. 3 months had passed since first contact, and the landscape of human civilization had transformed dramatically. Inside the command center, Dr. Samantha Chen stood before a holographic display of the Milky Way, red tendrils creeping across its spiral arms representing the Void Collective's advance. She rubbed her tired eyes, the weight of sleepless nights evident in the dark circles beneath them. "Dr. Chen," a gravelly voice called out. She turned to see General Marcus Steele, the grizzled veteran chosen to lead Earth's military response. "The Arcturian delegation has arrived. It's time." Samantha nodded, straightening her lab coat as she followed the general to the central meeting chamber. Inside, representatives from a dozen alien races were gathered around a large, circular table. At the head sat Ambassador Zixera, flanked by two tall, crystalline beings, the Arcturians. As Samantha and General Steele took their seats, Zixera began the meeting. "Esteemed colleagues, we have convened today to assess our progress and finalize our unified strategy against the Void Collective. But first, let us welcome our newest allies, the Arcturians." One of the crystalline beings stood, its body chiming softly as it moved. "We are harmony and discord, speakers for the Arcturian resonance. We have observed your efforts and have chosen to add our song to your chorus." General Steele leaned towards Samantha, whispering, "I still can't get used to how they talk." She nodded in agreement, but her attention was fixed on the Arcturians. Their race was known for their advanced sonic technology and their initial reluctance to join the Alliance. Their presence here was a significant boost to their cause. Zixera continued, "Now, let us hear the report from Earth. Dr. Chen, if you would." Samantha stood, activating a holographic display above the table. "Thank you, Ambassador. Over the past 3 months, we've made significant strides in understanding the nature of the Void Collective and developing potential countermeasures." The display showed a swirling mass of dark energy. "Our analysis of the data provided by the Conclave has led us to a theory. The Void Collective isn't just consuming matter and energy, it's consuming space-time itself." A murmur ran through the alien delegates. Samantha continued, "We believe this is why conventional weapons have been ineffective. The collective doesn't just absorb the energy of attacks, it absorbs the very space the attacks occupy." She paused, allowing the implications to sink in. "However, this discovery has also pointed us towards a potential weakness. If we can disrupt the collective's ability to manipulate space-time, we may be able to halt its advance and potentially even reverse it." The Arcturian named Harmony chimed in. "Your theory aligns with the dissonance we have observed in the cosmic symphony. How do you propose to create this disruption?" Samantha smiled. "That's where human ingenuity comes in. We're developing a device we call the space-time anchor. In theory, it should be able to stabilize a localized area of space-time, preventing the Void Collective from absorbing it." She nodded to General Steele, who stood to continue the briefing. "We've also been adapting your weapons technology to our more unconventional tactics. The Mobius strike force we're forming will use hit-and-run techniques, deploying space-time anchors to create safe zones within void-controlled space." As the general outlined the military strategy, Samantha observed the reactions of the alien delegates. Many seemed skeptical, others intrigued. The Arcturians were unreadable, their crystalline forms simply refracting the light of the holograms. When the briefing concluded, Zixera spoke. "This is not what we expected when we came to Earth. Your approaches are unorthodox, perhaps even reckless, and yet they offer a hope we have not had in centuries." An insectoid delegate buzzed in agitation. "But the risks. The energy requirements for these space-time anchors alone could destabilize entire star systems if miscalculated." "With all due respect," Samantha interjected, "taking risks is what humans do best. Every great advancement in our history came from those willing to take a leap into the unknown." General Steele nodded in agreement. "We understand the dangers, but we've faced extinction before. From our own nuclear weapons, from climate change, from pandemics. Each time, we've pulled back from the brink through innovation and sheer determination. The chamber fell silent as the aliens contemplated this. Finally, harmony and discord spoke in unison, their voices creating an otherworldly harmony. We have heard the echoes of your past triumphs and failures. Your species' song is chaotic, dissonant, and yet beautiful in its complexity. We will lend our resonance to your cause. With the Arcturians' support, the rest of the Alliance fell in line. As the meeting adjourned, Samantha felt a mix of relief and apprehension. They had their plan, but now came the hard part: implementation. Over the next weeks, the Nevada facility became a hive of activity. Humans worked alongside aliens, combining technologies in ways never before imagined. The Arcturians' sonic crystals were integrated into the space-time anchors, their resonance helping to stabilize the device's effects. Samantha found herself in awe of the progress they were making. In her lab, she watched as a prototype anchor warped the space around it, creating a bubble of stable space-time in a simulated void environment. Remarkable, a voice said behind her. She turned to see Zixera entering the lab. In all our centuries of fighting the void, we never considered such an approach. Samantha smiled tiredly. Sometimes it takes a fresh perspective. We may not have your technology, but humans have always been good at thinking outside the box. Zixera's multifaceted eyes seemed to twinkle with amusement. Indeed, your idioms still confuse me, but I believe I understand the sentiment. Your species continues to surprise us. As they talked, an alarm suddenly blared through the facility. General Steele's voice came over the intercom. All personnel to battle stations. We have a void incursion in the Proxima Centauri system. This is not a drill. Samantha's heart raced as she rushed to the command center. Zixera close behind. The holographic display showed a mass of swirling darkness engulfing the nearest star system to Earth. It's happening faster than we predicted, Samantha gasped. General Steele's face was grim as he addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, aliens and humans, the moment we've been preparing for is here. The Void Collective has reached our cosmic doorstep. It's time to show them what we're made of. As the joint human-alien fleet prepared to deploy, Samantha felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. This was the ultimate test of everything they had worked for. As she watched the ships depart, carrying the hopes of not just Earth, but countless alien worlds, she whispered a quiet prayer to the cosmos. The battle for survival was about to begin, and humanity was about to show the galaxy why you should never underestimate the human spirit. The battle begins. The vastness of space seemed to shrink as the joint human-alien fleet exited hyperspace near Proxima Centauri. The star's usual warm glow was dimmed, partially engulfed by the creeping tendrils of the Void Collective. From the bridge of the flagship, Humanity's Hope, Dr. Samantha Chen watched with a mixture of awe and terror. "My God," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the ship's systems. Beside her, General Steele's weathered face was set in grim determination. "All ships, battle formations. Remember your training and trust your allies. Today, we make history." The fleet fanned out, a dazzling array of vessels representing the diversity of the Galactic Alliance. Sleek Arcturian cruisers hummed with sonic energy, while bulky Zoxarian battleships bristled with weaponry. At the center, Earth's contribution. Agile fighters and the newly christened anchor ships, carrying humanity's hope for victory. As they approached the edge of the Void's influence, Samantha activated the primary comm channel. "All anchor ships, prepare to deploy on my mark. Remember, timing is crucial. We need to create a stable perimeter before engaging the main force." The response came from Captain Ariajan, leader of the anchor ship squadron. "Roger that, Dr. Chen. Anchors primed and ready." Samantha took a deep breath, her fingers hovering over the launch controls. 3, 2, 1, mark. A dozen anchor ships broke formation, racing towards predetermined coordinates around the expanding darkness. As they reached their positions, brilliant beams of energy erupted from each vessel, puncturing the fabric of space itself. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a sheet snapping taut, the space around each anchor point stabilized. The Void's advance slowed, then stopped at the perimeter created by the anchors. A cheer went up across the fleet, but Samantha knew this was just the beginning. Phase 1 complete, she reported. The perimeter is holding. Commencing Phase 2. General Steele nodded, his voice booming across all channels. All ships, engage the enemy. Mobius Strike Force, you have the green light. Give them hell. The battle erupted in earnest. Energy weapons flared against the inky blackness of the void, while Arcturian ships emitted pulses of sonic energy that seemed to make space itself shudder. Earth fighters darted in and out of the fray, their unorthodox maneuvers catching the void off guard. At first, the Alliance seemed to have the upper hand. The Void Collective, for the first time in its existence, found itself contained and under attack from multiple fronts. But as the battle raged on, the true horror of their enemy became apparent. Dr. Chen. Captain Zhang's panicked voice cut through the comm chatter. The Void, it's adapting. Our anchors are losing stability. Samantha's fingers flew over her console, analyzing the data streaming in. Her heart sank as she realized the truth. The collective is learning. It's finding ways to work around our anchors. As if to emphasize her words, one of the anchor points flickered and died. The Void surged forward, swallowing 2 Alliance ships before they could retreat. Pull back, General Steele ordered. All ships fall back to secondary positions. As the fleet regrouped, Samantha's mind raced. They had anticipated that the Void might adapt, but not this quickly. She turned to Zixera, who had been silently observing the battle. Ambassador, we need options. The anchors alone won't be enough. Zixera's multifaceted eyes reflected the chaos of the battle outside. In all our centuries of fighting, we've never seen the collective react like this. Your strategy has forced it to evolve. A crazy idea began to form in Samantha's mind. Evolve. That's it. We're not just fighting a force of nature. We're fighting an entity that can learn and adapt. She rushed to the central holographic display, pulling up schematics of the anchor technology. If the Void can learn, so can we. We need to make the anchors adaptive, able to shift their resonance frequency in response to the Void's changes. General Steele looked skeptical. Doctor, we're in the middle of a battle. We can't exactly call a timeout to redesign our primary weapon. Samantha's eyes blazed with determination. We don't need to redesign them. We just need to reprogram them. Captain Zhang. She called over the comm. I'm sending you a software update for the anchors. It's untested, but... Say no more, Doc, Zhang interrupted. At this point, we got nothing to lose. As Zhang's team worked to implement the update, the rest of the fleet fought desperately to hold the line. Samantha watched anxiously as ship after ship winked out of existence, swallowed by the encroaching darkness. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, Captain Zhang's voice crackled through the comm. Update implemented. Anchors coming back online. Now. The effect was immediate and stunning. The remaining anchor points flared to life, their energy beams pulsing and shifting in a complex dance. Where before they had stood rigid against the Void's assault, now they swayed and adapted, matching the collective's attempts to bypass them at every turn. It's working, Samantha exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief and joy. General Steele wasted no time. All ships resumed the offensive. Mobius Strike Force, penetrate the Void's defenses, hit them where it hurts. The tide of battle shifted once more. With the anchors holding strong, Alliance ships pressed their advantage. The Mobius Strike Force, led by daring human pilots, dove deep into Void-controlled space, deploying miniature anchors that disrupted the collective from within. Hours passed, feeling like days to the embattled fleet, but slowly, inevitably, the Void began to recede. As the last tendril of darkness was pushed back beyond Proxima Centauri, a deafening cheer echoed through every ship in the fleet. On the bridge of humanity's hope, Samantha collapsed into a chair, exhaustion and elation warring for dominance. General Steele placed a hand on her shoulder, his usual stoicism broken by a proud smile. "We did it, Doctor. We actually did it." Zixera approached, bowing deeply in a gesture of respect. "Dr. Chen, General Steele, on behalf of the Galactic Conclave, I thank you. For the first time in our long war against the Void, we have achieved a true victory." As the reality of their achievement sank in, Samantha felt a swell of pride. Humanity had not only held its own among the stars, but had turned the tide in a war that had raged for centuries. But even as the celebration began, a nagging thought tugged at the back of her mind. They had won the battle, yes, but the Void Collective had shown an ability to adapt that none had anticipated. The war was far from over, and their enemy was learning. As she looked out at the stars, no longer dimmed by the Void's presence, Samantha knew that the greatest challenges and opportunities still lay ahead. Humanity had proven its worth among the galactic community. Now they would need to prove they could lead the charge into an uncertain future. The Battle of Proxima Centauri was over, but the war for the galaxy's survival was just beginning. Turning point. The victory at Proxima Centauri had bought the Alliance precious time, but the war against the Void Collective raged on. 6 months had passed since that first decisive battle, and the conflict had spread across the galaxy. Humanity, once the newcomer, now stood at the forefront of the fight. Dr. Samantha Chen stood before the Galactic Conclave, her holographic form flickering slightly as she addressed representatives from 100 worlds. The chamber, once a place of measured debate, now thrummed with nervous energy. "The adaptive anchor technology has allowed us to hold the line," Samantha explained, gesturing to a galactic map dotted with blue defensive points. "But we're at a stalemate. For every system we reclaim, the Void adapts and pushes back elsewhere." Murmurs of discontent rippled through the assembly. An avian delegate from the Cygnus Arm squawked indignantly. "This is unacceptable. We were promised victory, not an endless war of attrition." Before Samantha could respond, General Steele's hologram materialized beside her. "With all due respect," he growled, "we've done more in 6 months than the Conclave managed in centuries. But we're not miracle workers." Ambassador Zixera raised a hand, silencing the chamber. "Dr. Chen, General Steele speaks truth. You have given us hope where there was none. But hope alone will not defeat the Void. What is your next move?" Samantha took a deep breath. This was the moment she'd been dreading. "We have a plan, but it's unconventional and risky." She nodded to her assistant, and a new hologram appeared, a swirling vortex of energy that pulsed with an otherworldly light. "This is a quantum singularity drive. It's experimental technology based on our studies of the Void's space-time manipulation." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Quantum singularities were notoriously unstable. The idea of harnessing one as a power source was considered madness by most advanced races. Samantha raised her voice over the din. "I know it sounds crazy, but we believe this drive could allow us to match the Void's ability to warp space-time. We could strike at its heart, disrupt its very essence." Silence fell as the implications sank in. It was harmony and discord. The Arcturian representatives, who spoke first. "The song you propose is complex and dangerous. The dissonance could shatter reality itself." General Steele stepped forward. "We're aware of the risks. That's why we're not asking for the Conclave's permission. Earth has already begun construction of a prototype vessel. We're here to request your support, not your approval." The uproar that followed was deafening. Accusations of recklessness and hubris flew from all corners. But beneath the outrage, Samantha sensed a current of desperate hope. As the session adjourned in chaos, Zixera approached the human holograms. "You play a dangerous game," the ambassador said softly. "But perhaps that is what we need. The Arcturians will support your endeavor. The rest will come around." Back on Earth, Samantha stood in the cavernous hangar of the Movov space elevator, gazing up at the sleek form of humanity's greatest gamble. The RSS Prometheus gleamed under the harsh lights, its hull inscribed with equations and symbols that pushed the boundaries of known physics. "Quite a sight, isn't she?" a voice said behind her. Samantha turned to see Captain Ariajong, the hero of Proxima Centauri, now chosen to lead this most perilous of missions. Samantha nodded, a mix of pride and anxiety churning in her stomach. "She's beautiful and terrifying." Aria laughed, a sound tinged with both excitement and nerves. "That she is. My crew's been running simulations nonstop. We're as ready as we'll ever be." As they discussed final preparations, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. General Steele's voice boomed over the intercom. "All personnel to battle stations. We have multiple void incursions in the Sol system. This is not a drill." Samantha's blood ran cold. "They're here. But how? The anchored network has failed." Aria finished grimly, already sprinting towards the Prometheus. "We knew this day might come. Looks like we're launching ahead of schedule." As chaos erupted around them, Samantha made a split-second decision. "I'm coming with you," she said, following Aria into the ship. "You'll need me to monitor the drive." Aria looked like she wanted to argue, but nodded sharply. "Strap in. This is going to get rough." The next hours were a blur of frantic activity. The Prometheus launched under heavy fire, its conventional engines straining as it broke free of Earth's gravity. Around them, the combined forces of humanity and their alien allies fought desperately to hold back the encroaching void. As they cleared the atmosphere, Samantha got her first look at the full scale of the invasion. The void had somehow bypassed their outer defenses, its tendrils reaching hungrily for Earth itself. "We're out of time," Aria said, her voice tight. "Dr. Chen, we need that drive online now." Samantha's fingers flew over the controls, bypassing safety protocols and redlining systems that had never been fully tested. "Quantum singularity drive spooling up," she reported, her voice surprisingly calm. "Prepare for space-time distortion on my mark." The ship shuddered as reality itself seemed to twist around them. Through the viewports, Samantha saw the stars stretch and blur. A yawning chasm of absolute darkness opened before them, a portal to the very heart of the Void Collective. "May whatever gods are out there help us," Aria whispered. Then, louder, "All hands, brace for transition. We're going in." The Prometheus plunged into darkness, carrying with it the hopes of not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy. As the familiar universe faded from view, Samantha felt a moment of absolute terror, followed by a surge of determination. They had taken the ultimate risk. Now, it was time to rewrite the rules of the cosmos itself. The battle for Earth raged behind them, but the true war, the one that would decide the fate of all existence, was just beginning. Victory and new galactic order. The void was absolute. No light, no sound, no sense of up or down. Inside the Prometheus, alarms blared as systems struggled to cope with the impossible environment outside. Dr. Samantha Chen's fingers danced across her console, making constant adjustments to keep the quantum singularity drive stable. "Status report." Captain Ariajong's voice cut through the chaos. Samantha's eyes never left her screens. "The drive is holding, but barely. We're literally rewriting the laws of physics to stay intact." Aria nodded grimly. "Any sign of, well, anything?" As if in answer, a shudder ran through the ship. The view screens, previously dark, exploded with a kaleidoscope of impossible colors and shifting geometries. "My God," Samantha breathed. "We're seeing the raw fabric of space-time itself." Aria leaned forward, her eyes narrowed. "There. That distortion at 2 o'clock. It's different from the others." Samantha analyzed the readings and felt a chill run down her spine. "That's it. The core of the Void Collective. The source of it all." "Take us in," Aria ordered. "All weapons hot. Whatever that thing is, we're going to hit it with everything we've got." As the Prometheus approached the swirling mass of dark energy, tendrils of void matter lashed out, testing the ship's defenses. The quantum drive howled in protest, fluctuating wildly as it struggled to maintain a bubble of stable spacetime around them. Suddenly, a presence filled their minds, ancient, vast, and utterly alien. The voice of the Void Collective itself. Why do you resist? We are INEVITABL. We are ETRNITI. Samantha gritted her teeth against the psychic assault. We're not just fighting for survival, she shouted, though whether out loud or in her mind, she couldn't tell. We're fighting for the right to exist as we are, for diversity, for freedom, for the beauty of a universe filled with countless unique forms of life. ERRELEVANT. All will be one. All will be void. Fire everything. Area commanded. The Prometheus unleashed its full arsenal. Beams of concentrated quantum energy, warheads that detonated with the force of collapsing stars, and waves of destructive harmonics courtesy of Arcturian technology, all focused on the heart of the collective. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a dam breaking, cracks appeared in the fabric of the void. Light, real, warm, life-giving light, began to seep through. You cannot destroy us. We are IFUNDAMENTL. Samantha's mind raced. The collective was right. They couldn't destroy it entirely. It was too vast, too intrinsic to the structure of the universe. But maybe. We don't need to destroy you, she said, her fingers flying over the controls. We just need to change you. Captain, divert all power to the quantum drive. We're going to rewrite its base code. Understanding dawned in Aria's eyes. With a nod, she gave the order. The Prometheus's weapons fell silent as every ounce of energy was channeled into the drive. Samantha closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind to merge with the ship's systems. She could feel the fundamental forces of the universe swirling around her, could sense the vast, hungry consciousness of the void. And she began to sing. Not with her voice, but with mathematics, with the purest expression of the universe's underlying harmony. The quantum drive amplified her song, sending it rippling through the very fabric of reality. For an eternal moment, everything hung in the balance. Then, slowly, the void began to change. The hungry darkness transformed into something new, still vast and powerful, but no longer all-consuming. We are changed. We are many. As suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The Prometheus erupted back into normal space, systems failing left and right from the strain. But as emergency power kicked in and the view screens cleared, they saw a sight that took their breath away. Where the void had been, a new nebula was forming. Clouds of glowing gas and stardust swirled in patterns of impossible beauty. We did it, Aria whispered, awed in her voice. But what exactly did we do? Samantha smiled, tears of exhaustion and joy streaming down her face. We reminded the universe of its own nature. Unity in diversity. The void isn't gone. It's transformed. No longer a force of destruction, but one of creation. As the Prometheus limped back towards Earth, they were met by a fleet of allied ships. The comm channels erupted with cheers and congratulations in 100 alien tongues. Months later, Samantha once again stood before the galactic conclave. But this time, the chamber was filled not with fear and discord, but with hope and excitement. The war is over, she announced, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. The Void Collective as we knew it no longer exists. In its place, we have a new force in the galaxy, one that creates rather than destroys, that adds to the richness of existence rather than seeking to homogenize it. She paused, looking out at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. But our work is not done. We have been given a second chance, an opportunity to build a truly unified galactic community, one that values the contributions of all its members, that sees strength in our differences rather than fearing them. Ambassador Zixera stepped forward. Dr. Chen speaks wisdom. Humanity has proven itself not just as warriors, but as visionaries. I propose that Earth be granted a permanent seat on the Conclave's High Council. The motion was approved with thunderous acclaim. As the session adjourned, Samantha found herself surrounded by beings from across the cosmos, all eager to share ideas and forge new connections. She caught Aria's eye across the room, sharing a smile of quiet pride. They had faced the darkness and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The galaxy was entering a new age of exploration, cooperation, and limitless potential. And humanity, the newcomers who had changed everything, would help lead the way. As Samantha looked out at the stars, brighter now, somehow, than they had ever been before, she felt a sense of wonder and excitement for the future. The void had been their greatest threat. Now, it was their greatest frontier. The end, and a new beginning.